All right, IED, we're going to talk about activity 2.2.1. This is going to be part two. At the beginning, we were talking about how to look at a video game controller and to look at the inputs, outputs, and what functions it actually did. There was a video on the website. I'm going to try to get that on YouTube as well too, so that people can just access it easier. And then hopefully that'll get up there at some point in time. I'll need something more than a potato computer to actually do that. Anyway, what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be looking at a system that is going to be, uh, we're going to dissect the controller. So we're going to basically take it apart piece by piece, and we're going to see exactly what makes it tick. And what we're going to do is if you're virtual, you're going to be using a um, piece of paper. You don't have to use an index card for this. A piece of paper will work absolutely just fine. If you don't even have paper and you just got your Chromebook sitting by you, a Google Doc will also function perfectly well as well too. Don't feel that you're limited by what you have available to be able to turn the stuff in. There's no problem there. You're more than welcome to turn it in any way that you want to be able to. So there's a video of showing the disassembly of a video game controller. I do have that one already on YouTube, so you can watch that one, or you can just click on this link and it should take you over there either way just fine. And then it says, what parts interact to execute the functions. So we're going to select one function written on the second index card. And so the functions that you had mentioned earlier from the previous one, you're going to say, hey, what parts actually interact to execute that function that you wanted it to do? How do the parts interact with each other? And what materials were the parts composed of? And why particularly that material do you think that was the way they did? Like, why do you think they made it that way? Then it says label a third index card. Once again, you can just type it somewhere or do it on a piece of paper. With the heading disassembly on the index card, write down your idea of how the game controller works to complete the chosen function. So you're going to basically, this is going to be your idea. Like here's how this works. And you're going to give, in science, they call it a hypothesis. In engineering, you're just going to give it your guess. You're going to say like, it's an idea of how you think the game controller is actually going to work. And then it says form a small group. If you're virtual, you're going to have to just be by yourself on this one, and you're just going to complete the following. Let's see here. Let's see how we can modify this a little bit because it says share your descriptions of the game controller written on the first index card. Use the following questions to guide your group's discussions. So you can just use your own and you can just dive deeper into it. So the index card that you have, you can just ask yourself these questions and answer these questions. What descriptive words were most commonly used? Did you describe a feature in a different way? So like if you think about it, like is there a different way that you could describe this feature? What are some physical characteristics of the game controller that would persuade you to buy the controller? So what makes it what makes you what would persuade you to actually buy it? And there's not more there's more than one right answer there. There's obviously it's open-ended. Share your inputs and outputs written on the second index card, so you don't have to do that because you only have one index card. Or even better, if you want to impress me, you can write a second function and you can ask yourself this question: were there additional outputs or inputs discussed that you didn't consider? If so, you can add them over to the list. So if you don't have somebody to talk to with this, if it's not a group thing and you're virtual, just try to run through the logic again and see if there's a different way that you could have done it through the inputs and outputs. It may be that, no, that might have been the only way that I can think of. And if it was, then that's perfectly fine. And then the next thing is what is required to operate the game controller? This is important. So like what do you need in order to be able to operate the game controller? In the case of the game controller, it's going to be like fingers and thumbs. Specifically, which fingers and which thumbs do you need to actually operate the game controller? So if somebody doesn't have their left index finger, are they completely out of luck with your game controller? What is required? What is the minimum necessary that you need? Um, and then let's see here. Share your chosen function and how you think the controller operates. Use the following questions to guide you. How do the parts interact with each other? That one's pretty straightforward. Are you able to determine how the game controller works to execute your chosen function? If not, what additional information might you need? And the third one, what surprised you about the internal components of the game controller? So, what I'm going to need from you guys on your dissection is to answer all these questions to the best of your ability and then take that and turn it into me. The reflection question is just kind of for you to think about. They talk about the COVID-19 pandemic that is happening to us right now, and there are some definite problems that need to be solved with it. In this case, it's talking about uh, respirator valves and how they're actually used in the recent COVID-19 pandemic. You're more than welcome to give that one a read and to kind of think about it. And there are definitely some ethical questions that they ask down below here as well too. And ethics are definitely something to consider in engineering. So take a look at it, take a read, and if you feel like commenting to it at the end of your story, you're more than welcome to. If not, you can just answer these questions up to the reflection question, and for me, you're good to go. If you're virtual and you're checking with your teacher, you might obviously follow their instructions instead of mine. This is just what I'm requiring for my class. So you guys have a great day, and we will talk later.